Hi, Dr. Jen. Hi, my name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. First off, thank you very much for saying yes to be interviewed today. And I am thrilled to have a dissertation coach on my show, the very first one. As part of the ritual for my podcast, I'd like to read a bit of an introduction for our listeners today, and then we can get right into our conversation. So, hello everyone. We have Dr. Jen Harrison here with us. Dr. Jen Harrison is a highly experienced dissertation coach, a PhD herself. She has coached and supervised first generation ESL in non-traditional students in the UK and USA for more than 10 years. Many of her clients are BIPOC and women of color just like her, and many of them have achieved first-class degrees. Dr. Harrison offers support in writing, research design, motivation, and research methods. She specializes in helping you achieve your dissertation and career goals quickly and easily so you can feel confident and supported moving forward. Wow. Welcome, Dr. Jen.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, Dr. Jen, could you share with us what was it like growing up as Dr. Jennifer Harrison?
So I actually grew up, I spent part of my childhood in the US, part of my childhood in the US. So certainly my experience of growing up has been one of being in two different places and never quite sure where I fit in properly.
Mm-hmm. So right now, if it's EST, meaning you're located in the USA. Okay. So, we can get right into the conversation on going for grad degree or dissertation. So the question here, how do you know if a dissertation or a grad degree is the right choice for students?
Sure. Well, what I would recommend for students is that they start by looking at what their end goal is. So a lot of people go into dissertation work just because they think they need to do something more and they're not quite sure what that next step should be.
Mm-hmm.
And what I recommend is that you don't go into dissertation work just because you want to do something. You work out what it is, where is it that you want to get to? A dissertation, an advanced degree is not always the right choice for everybody. You've got to weigh up what are the options for you to get where you want to get to, and is a dissertation going to be the right choice for you? Because there are a lot of work and they require a lot of financial investment, time investment. You have to work out, are you the kind of person who has the time for this degree? Are you going to be able to afford to pay for multiple semesters? Are you strong at reading? Are you strong at writing? Are you going to be driven mad by being asked to do multiple revisions? Weighing up your strengths, weighing up your weaknesses, and weighing that against your goal and where you want to get to, and all the different options that are available to you.
I'd like to share a bit of my stories because I didn't go for for the conventional degree, so I went through the route of CAT, and that's the preparatory course for ACCA, and then I went straight to ACCA, and then no degree in between. So I never quite understood the thrill or the students who took that pathway of the normal accounting degree and then they want to pursue it to PhD and dissertation. So I never had that feeling of writing a thesis and submitting it and presenting it. I mean, I have done that back in high school, but not my professional papers. So for students right now, right, that are in that dilemma, what are your thoughts? So I know you mentioned about grad and dissertation, and then what about professional papers? Like, what are your thoughts? If you could maybe outline some of the pros and cons of it, that'd be good.
Of doing a dissertation.
Yeah, dissertation. That's right.
Okay, so the pros are definitely status. So if you have that dissertation to your name, it's widely recognized, especially by employers. They like to see that you were able to handle a large independent project and that you were able to do that successfully. So employers really like to see that. Generally speaking, you get a lot of prestige from having done a degree like that. You get letters to your name. Other pros are that you pick up a lot of really good transferable skills when you do a degree. So things like time management and being able to work independently and research skills. And then just really basic stuff like being able to use a word processor to do complicated things. All of those skills are things that you pick up doing a dissertation, working with other people, being meticulous, writing fluently, constructing a clear argument. Cons, though, I think we already kind of touched upon that a little bit. Degrees are expensive. They are very time consuming. And especially if you're trying to be a parent or work a different job as well, it's a lot to take on. So you have to be very ready and prepared for the amount of work that degree is going to be.
What can someone expect if they choose to do a graduate degree?
Okay, so first thing you can definitely expect is that the degree is going to take a lot of your time and energy. What that degree will actually look like depends on which degree you decide to pursue. But you'll usually be asked to come up with a project topic, and that topic will focus around a problem that you want to solve and data that you want to collect in order to come up with a solution. You'll be expected to research everything that has already been found out about that topic. So that's going to be months of reading.
Wow.
And analyzing. And then once you have done that, you're going to be expected to write a proposal that states what the problem is, what the proposed research data collection is going to be, what you intend to do with that data, how you intend to collect that data, and proving that the research really needs to be done by writing about all of that reading that you did. And then you would be expected to defend that proposal. So you would go through an oral presentation usually, and you'd be asked to explain your topic, and the panel of defense adjudicators would ask you a lot of questions to make sure you really understood what you were getting into, that your design was good. If they decided your design was good and they approved your proposal, the next thing you would need to do is get ethics approval, because whenever you're going to go out into the real world and collect data, they want to make sure that you're doing it in a safe way for other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Once you had your ethics approval, then you'd be able to collect your data, and then the last stage of that degree would be writing up your findings. So what did you find when you collected that data, and how did it address the problem? And then at the very end of the degree, you do another defense presentation where you present the whole project, what you found, what you discovered, and the expectation is that you have added to your field of knowledge and found something new, and they want to see you present that. And they'll often ask you to make changes to your manuscript for clarity or to flesh out certain points. And then at that point, you can call yourself doctor. So it is a long, involved process.
I want to unpack that one by one, because I do know a few friends who's doing that. And they tell me, like, often, Nick, I gotta read. Okay, what is it that you're reading? Okay, so you said during the first part, preliminary, you have to do your own reading. So that's to find out all of the other topics that's out there, revolving the research that has been done on that topic that you're gonna go into, and then find out a problem of yours that you wanna present to the adjudicators, and then research again what's the solution for that, and then have it presented again the second time, defend it. Okay. And how long would that take normally?
So it really depends on the program. There are some programs that will be finished in 3 months, 6 months. And there are other students that I know who are taking 2-3 years to go through this process. There was one lady that I worked with who had been trying to do this for 35 years, but that's quite unusual.
35?
She was a very unusual
Bless
case.
her.
Yes.
Okay. Well, sending her all the love and light her way.
Yes.
Okay. What are the top challenges facing dissertation students?
So we already talked about the fact that it's a very heavy time investment and a very heavy financial investment. The biggest challenge that I see students facing when they go into work these degrees is that they're not prepared for what is going to be expected of them. So they may not have very strong writing skills, or they may not have very strong research skills. A lot of them also struggle with the independent learning side of things, because up until that point, their education has been very guided. There have been instructors telling them what to do, or what their deadlines are, when to hand things in, and how to work. So having that kind of left to themselves, a lot of people do struggle with that as well. And then academia can be a very competitive environment, so sometimes students struggle with just the environment that they're in, and the lack of support that sometimes comes from the institutions.
So what is your advice to the students that because it can be a very lonely journey.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. What do you what would you want to give your message out to these students? How can they find help?
So first thing I would say is start close to home. A lot of people overlook the fact that their friends and family will be willing to help them out. They don't like to ask for help if you get them weak or incapable. And if your friends and your family are going to be your biggest support network during that time. So share with them the struggles you're having. Share with them exactly what it is that you're going to be doing and why it's such a heavy workload so that they understand why you need the help. And then ask for help with things like laundry or babysitting or, can someone else cook dinner? So that's the first thing. And then the next place I would say to look for help is with your cohort, the other students who are around you. A lot of degree programs, again, because there's that competitive side of things, students don't realize that the other students in their programs are struggling as well. And so everybody keeps quiet in the hopes that nobody will realize that they are finding the work hard.
Drowning.
If you actually, exactly. Yeah. So if you open up and let the people around you know, the chances are that they are struggling with the same things, and then you'll be able to support each other. So I'm a big advocate of student support groups, peer groups, cohort working groups, anything like that. And if there isn't one in your institution, think about starting one. And then the last thing, of course, is, and a lot of people feel that they don't want to do this, but it is 100% legit to hire help as well. So just like a professional footballer has a coach, there's no reason you can't have a coach as well to help you with your writing. There's no reason you can't hire someone to proofread your paper if you're not good at grammar. Those are not cheating. They are 100% legitimate ways to get help. If you are someone who struggles with focus, find yourself an ADHD coach or find yourself a life coach who can, help you stay on track. If you are you're really struggling with just your life demands, like hire a cleaner and get them to clean your house so that you can focus on your dissertation. Work that into your budget as you're thinking about your dissertation and your degree, and just don't be afraid and don't be embarrassed to go and get the help for the things that you can't manage yourself.
Yeah, and I love that. It's because we humans think we're superhumans, and I think the baseline of it is to just don't be afraid of asking for help and quit doing success without you can do it alone, but the journey is arduous and it's good to get some help. I mean, if you don't want to get a coach, for example, get the people around you, a helper, like you said, or if you just want it to be focused and somebody to an accountability partner, like a coach that's like is gonna act like a sounding board to go straight as you're walking that lonely path. Yeah, get that help. Okay. Yes. Right. I think we touched about this just now. What are some strategies for overcoming typical dissertation challenges?
So, let's bring us a little bit. Strategy number one is going to be to have your network, have a support group around, know who they are, prep them in advance so that they know what you will need help with, and then don't be afraid to ask for help. So that's kind of the top strategy. Another strategy is that it can get very overwhelming, and students can get very reactive when they're in these degrees. Problem after problem is kind of piling on top of them, and they're kind of throwing out fires. So I'd say a really good strategy that often gets overlooked is to learn mindfulness techniques, have a therapist, be able to be really proactive about your mental health during that degree so that you don't end up in a state of being burnt out and overwhelmed, but you're actually compared to the levels of stress and have techniques in place to deal with them.
Oh, I love it. I love the mindfulness part. Because I'm a big advocate of that. I experienced my burnout in my last job. So yes, all for mindfulness. Okay, now this is also a very a thing that I used to face myself. I'm still facing, but getting by every day. What are some top tips for managing imposter syndrome?
So again, really top tip for imposter syndrome is to have the people around you. The more you talk about the things that you are struggling with, the more you'll come to realize that other people are struggling with them as well. So be really open, like have good conversations with other people and recognize that you're not the only one struggling. That's kind of top of the list. And then also just be aware that it's not normal for one person to be able to do everything and to be good at everything. And that when you go into the degree, it is a degree that is about learning. And your institution may be acting as though they expect you to know everything already, but that's not a reasonable expectation. Understand that it's normal for you to be still learning the process and finding the feet. If you have that recognition, I think it's harder to feel like you don't know what you're doing and you shouldn't be there, because you recognize that anybody can be in that environment. It's just a hard working, but everybody needs the tools and the support to be able to do well. And then the last thing I would say for imposter syndrome is to be willing to advocate for yourself. If you are not getting the support that you need, or realistically, if you are suffering from imposter syndrome at all, the first thing you should do is start asking people, well, why aren't I getting the help I need? Where's the support I need? I should be getting this. I should be getting that. Please can I have it? Because a lot of the time, imposter syndrome is a reaction for support. And instead of seeking that for support, we take it on ourselves as blame.
Yeah.
So
they're not good enough.
That,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
I love that.
Redirect that energy. Don't go down the imposter syndrome route. Go down the seeking help route.
I love that. Tell us, Dr. Jen, what was your journey with your own PhD?
Sure. So I went to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So our listeners can resonate, can have a sneak peek of your own path finishing up your PhD.
So I went to college in the UK, and I did a degree in English literature, and I enjoyed myself so much doing that degree that I decided I was going to do a PhD. I skipped through the masters completely. So similar to your story, I decided I wasn't going to do the masters, and I went straight into the PhD. I had the most amazing experience during my PhD. I had a really, really good supervisor who was very intent on making sure that, well, not only that I was supported during my PhD, but he wanted to make sure I was really well trained as an academic and that I knew how to do things like conference papers and how to set up research projects. And so he was, the most amazing, supportive individual, and he really showed me how to be a researcher. And later on, after I'd gotten my degree, after I'd done teacher training, I was moved to the US, I'd had my kids, and I was working in higher education again. I was just so sad that I saw that a lot of students were not getting that same amazing experience that I had. And so that's really been my journey of having like a wonderful PhD experience, and I'm really wishing that other students were having that same. Yeah.
For the other people, and that's why you do what you do. I love it. Yeah. Wow, you're doing such great work. To be honest, I don't know, it's a very niche field, right? And when I saw it, I was like, wow, she's helping students that are struggling, that are drowning. And why I'm resonating with this is because I have a friend. She took up an MBA in Harvard Extension School, and then she was studying all by herself. She has a supervisor, and now thankfully she's graduating, so yay. And now she's pursuing her PhD in Boston, and she's gonna move there in, I think, May this month, or yeah. And it for her, I think it's gonna be a tough journey, but she has all the qualities that you listed. She's a reader. She can do research, and yeah, she's got it. So, and I'm like, I love her very much. And in fact, initially we wanted to start our podcast together, but because she decided to pursue her master's, and I'm like, that is not my route. I'm gonna start my podcast and talk to people. She's like, okay, I'm gonna read books, but we still love each other. So yeah. So it's amazing. I have a lot of respect for students that go through this route, because it requires tenacity, grit, and resilience. So Dr. Jen, what is next for you?
So really, I intend to just continue doing what I'm doing, is supporting students.
Okay. Are you planning to have like a big workshop maybe soon, or do you engage in universities?
No, I do not currently engage in universities. I did do a few workshops last year. I don't have any planned at the moment. There's a big rush at the minute of students who are just, I've got 6 or 7 of them who are about to defend their thesis. So at the moment, I am just kind of focusing on those students.
You're quite occupied. Yeah. Okay. All right. Dr. Jen, I'm gonna pivot to a self-worth question because my podcast talks a lot about self-worth. So the question for you, Dr. Jen, is how do childhood experiences and upbringing impact an individual's sense of self-worth and their ability to engage in self-discovery later in life?
Do you know, I think if you have had a challenging childhood for whatever reason that might be, that's what tests you and makes you start thinking about who you are as a person, want to be as a person. And I think that's true even if you had like an amazingly happy childhood. There's always going to be a moment where you realize that you have to go off into the world and be your own person. I think there is quite a lot of resistance to that process and discovery of doing hard things and failing and learning from those experiences. But I think they're really important for finding out who you are and where you want to go and what you want to be and who you are as a person in the world. So I think it's really important to embrace the negative as well as the positive in life, especially when you're growing up, is to not be afraid of doing things that are difficult or challenging or unpleasant, but to treat them as learning experiences.
Thank you. Okay, Dr. Jen, what is your heart's greatest wish?
That's a hard one. I think my heart's greatest wish is to see my two little boys grow up to be wonderful men.
Well said. Thank you. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
Get help when you need it.
Hashtag seek help. Hashtag
seek help.
Doing success on your own.
Yep.
Oh, hashtag you are not alone. Okay, for those listening. Okay, is there anything that keeps you up at night or do you sleep well?
Actually, I do sleep pretty well, but I use a lot of sleep aids. So I have sleep music and candles and, all the things.
Getting into that mindfulness
yes. Yeah,
routine.
Making sure the cat is locked out in the bedroom.
Yeah, I have a cat too. He's now sleeping on my bed, but yeah, I live in a studio, so I can't lock him away. So it's like, yeah, understood that you're gonna sleep by the corner of the bed and that's it. That's where you stay. Okay, Dr. Jen, if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world is your legacy, what would it be?
It might be, nothing is ever set in stone. You can always change the path that you are on. All it takes is information and support and determination.
Ooh, I love that. Hashtag pivot. You can pivot anytime. You have the choice. And how can people reach out to you?
So the absolute best way to get in touch with me is to email me directly. And the email address is jen, Jen, at readwriteperfect.com. And the other way that they can find me is on my website, which is www.readwriteperfect.com. And I'm also on Twitter, which is at perfect_right. And I'm on LinkedIn as well. So LinkedIn and Twitter, but the best way is to email me.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Jen, for your time today. And there you have it, guys. You heard it from Dr. Jen herself. Before we close off, personally, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Jen, for the work that you're doing for the world and for the students and for advancing every step of the way despite the challenges, creating trails for those that will come after you. This has been that one podcast with that controversial name, You're Worthless. Read that again, the juxtaposition of your very soul. For the listeners, if you find yourself thinking that you are worthless, you're not alone. But more importantly, ask yourself a level deeper, if I'm worthless, then why the heck am I here? Well, it is because your soul has chosen to be here energetically all the way from the ethers. And for that reason itself, you are worthy and you are enough. This has been Dr. Jennifer Harrison, my guest of the day, and Nick Nieras, your host, signing off.